Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom, to another episode of The Aftermath. I am your host, CJ Jones, with my buddy, my good friend, my partner in crime, Chris Tenpenny. Chris, how are we feeling on another new year, new season, Victory Monday, my friend?
Ooh, it feels good to have the first Victory Monday be on the first day of the year. It's been rough. It's been a rough month. December was not a good month for the Chiefs, even though it ended on a high note. So the fact that they were able to get back in the win column, clinch the AFC West, clinch the 3 seed in the playoffs, can't move from there. It just is like a big sigh of relief because any issues that we have, they're still there. But you got a couple weeks to work through it, a couple of weeks of stress, or at least 1 week of stress-free football, man. It's as bad as it's been over the last month or so. It's a very good feeling today.
Absolutely. It was been a long time. We haven't had a Victory Monday in a while. So had a couple of stressful weeks, a couple of rough weeks. So now we're finally back on those winning ways, getting down the right path. And just have, like you said, having a win just does everything for you mentally, physically, just gets everybody in the right spirit. And to know that this team can still be the same old Chiefs and we can still find ways to win games, not necessarily the way we're accustomed to in years past, but still figure out a way to get another one in the W column. But the team going forward, Chris, I like the way we played on defense. Obviously, we always come out and show up on defense. We don't really let teams really get any momentum. We were kind of talking about this offline. Kind of the fans get mad whenever we give up a touchdown. That's kind of the standard for this defense now. We're like the 85 Bears now, Chris. We're not allowed to let anyone score a touchdown. So I like this. I like what the defense has done. We got pressure. It was good to see George get 10.5 sacks this year.
10.5,
Jump.
baby.
Shout out to George. That was amazing to see. The D-line got pressure all games. That was good to see. Definitely get them rolling, get that momentum going into the playoffs. But overall, no, defense did the thing. Snead versus Jamar Chase was part 3 for them. And I think Snead got the better of it. Well, he didn't get to play in the last matchup because he got knocked out in the first quarter. So this is probably the first time we've seen them match up since the era before we had Spags. So obviously what we've been doing now, I don't want to brag and be biased, Chris, but I think Snead has been a top 2 corner this year. I was trying to be humble about it, but I've been saying all pro for the last month or two. And after this, there's obviously no more receivers he's going to play the rest of the year because Keenan Allen's not playing in week 18. But the numbers speak for themselves. Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, when we did see him, Devontae Adams, he's seen everybody, and he's held his own against every receiver. So I think that, like he said, check the numbers. I think the tape speaks for itself, Chris.
Who else you got up there with him then if you got him top 2? Because, I think Jalen's been balling. I know he's older. I think Jalen's been balling. I think you can make the argument for Sauce. So Pat Surtain's up there.
It's probably like those guys. Maybe you could throw in Denzel Ward from Cleveland.
Yeah, Ward's been balling too. I just was saying top 2. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you because again, Snead's been awesome this year.
Yeah,
taking on all those guys. I was just kind of curious, who do you have ahead of him?
And DB is always a hard position to guard because it's not really like a stat based. Right. It's more so like what you do on film. So if you're not giving up catches, what's your catch rate and obviously you want to measure guys when you're going up against the best receivers and. He's seen everybody in the league. I think the only top receiver he wouldn't have seen would be we saw AJ Brown. The only thing I think would be CeeDee Lamb probably wouldn't be the only one. We saw Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, he just missed CD.
Okay, CD's probably the only top receiver he hasn't seen. So he's seen every receiver you can think of. We saw Waddle and Tyreek in that game. So there's every receiver you could think of in this league. He's seen them against the best of the best, and he showed up every game. The only receiver that really had overall good game against us was Amon-Ra, or if you want to give Devontae first half of that first Raiders matchup. But overall, nobody really got off on Snead or this defense in general.
Yeah, no, the defense has been incredible. It's been the story all season. That's why it pissed me off so much when the chatter was about how bad the defense played early. And it's did they really play bad early? The first drive, the Bengals went 5 for 5 on third down. It was methodical. It was their script. It was just a good first drive. They went down and got 7 points. Obviously, there were some frustrating plays, some scramble plays by Browning. But then it was their second drive, they held them. They only gave up 3. And then they scored again because the offense fumbled and it was on the 20. And so you see 17 points and you're like, man, they gave up one long drive.
That's what I'm saying. So they really gave up 10 points because the 7 don't even count for them. So
right, and then later in the game they made a huge stop. I think it was terrible by Taylor to go for that. They should have taken the points. Something the Chiefs did a very good job of, which we'll get into later.
Exactly.
But I look at that and how can you watch this team play all year? The frustrations we've had about the offense and everything. and like just be pissed off at the defense after 2 drives. Like it just blows my mind that it is like cut them some slack. Like
The standard is different for the defense now, man. We got to be the 85 Bear, Chris. You know how it is.
I don't understand it because like they do this all the time. The other teams are able to come up with a good game plan.
Like a scripted 15. Yep.
The issue is that the Chiefs are A, good at making adjustments, and
Facts.
B, the game plan is really hard to execute because the best way to game plan against the Chiefs defense is to do the dink and dunks, hit the flat, take a little bit advantage of Reed and Bolton, in the short round game. But like those two players, even though those are weaknesses, like they're not necessarily terrible at. I know Bolton and Reed get a lot of hate on their coverage skills, but like they make enough plays up for it in other places that like there's just not a lot of ways to attack this defense. Teams are going to get their points early, but as they get worn down as the game goes on, you're able to execute less and less from an offensive standpoint. And we've seen that. How many times has this defense given up a 0 or like 7 or fewer points in the second half? Like it seems all the time.
It's routinely. That's why I don't get like Spags has been known, like you said, for making adjustments, whether it be after the first drive or in the second half. So I don't get where the frustration is because Spags is going to put us in a position to execute. It's just the notion we've said with this team this year is can the offense do their part? Because I know the defense is going to hold them down. Because like we just said, they've seen every quarterback you can think of. They've seen every receiver you can think of. So I don't think they're ever going to be in a position to where you have to worry about this defense. And like Chris, it's kind of been a theme all year. We've never been we had a full defense for like what, a week? Yeah. But like Nick Bolton, Charles Omenihu, and everybody was on the field together, like Chris Jones, Brian.
I don't know if we've actually had a week because Cook went out right when.
Well, when Charles came back, Nick Bolton left the game early Chargers week. Yeah, so half, 3/4 of a game.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, not
we haven't had a full game with the whole unit. It's either Chris was missing week 1, Charles was missing in 7 games, Brian Cook's been out. Obviously, we've had DBs being in and out the lineup as well, but like Drew Tranquil missed a couple games here and there. But overall, we haven't had a fully complete unit, and this defense has still been a top 2, top 3 unit this year, and we're still topping points per game given up in the league. So I don't know what complaints you can have about this defense, honestly, Chris. It's just nitpicking at this point. So
yeah, if like it has to be 24-0 in the first quarter and 0 turnovers by the offense for me to be like, man, this D has been sucking.
Exactly.
Like they're going to get a lot of slack from me early, Now, if we look up and the Chiefs lost 38-35, all right, maybe I'll give up, maybe I'll talk about the defense a little bit more, but like 17-0 17-7, what was it in the second quarter? Mm-hmm. Like it still wasn't time. Like it was like, okay, the offense put them in a bad spot. That was 7 points.
So yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, just take a deep breath, see how the rest of the game, and don't start bashing the strength of this team because of a couple bad series. Like this isn't the 2018 Chiefs. Like it's not like just because it started one way doesn't mean it's going to finish that way. It's a good unit with strengths all across the board. I mean, we don't even talk about Karlaftis a lot because even though with his 10.5 sacks, because of how good the other parts have been, because of how good Snead's been, because of how McDuffie continues to develop, Chris Jones, Omenihu comes back, he has 6 sacks in his time. Nick Bolton's back, and like I don't know what it is about Nick Bolton. I know Nick Bolton is an imperfect player. He's got his flaws, but there's just like this energy that just radiates off and that all the guys on that defense rally around.
It's just having a guy up there that knows what to do and knows how to get everybody lined up. And you can kind of tell when his presence isn't there, he's missed because mainly it's just like you said, he brings the energy. He's one of our best tacklers, if not the best tackler on our football team. But when he's there, like I said during that Packers week when Jack had to take over the green dot, he gets everyone lined up. So as a defensive player, as a safety, as a D lineman, I know Nick's going to put me in the right spot. I just got to go out there and play. Right. So when you can play, obviously, like stress-free, carefree football, I don't got to worry about what gap I'm supposed to be in, what coverage are we going to be in, what blitz are we doing. Nick's going to get us in the right play. All we got to do is go out there and just do our job. And that's just the same way on offense. When you have a leader like Pat Mahomes, all I have to worry about is he's going to make me right even if I'm wrong. I feel like that's what Nick does for our defense. Mm-hmm. So having him out there, like you said, he has his flaws. He's not the best athlete. He's not terrible either. So let's keep it in the middle. Let's be honest about both sides. And for what he lacks in coverage, he does great in obviously recognizing run blitzes, recognizing schemes and fits, and obviously having TFLs and obviously getting guys lined up. And he had a PBU this week, Chris. So don't tell me Nick Bolton sucks in coverage because he did get one this week. So don't say he never does it. So.
His instincts are just ridiculous. Like even going a couple of weeks ago on that Hail Mary to where he had the ball was batted around and it didn't even phase Nick. Like Nick almost like he knew that the ball wasn't going to come to him and just swatted it to the ground. Like
exactly.
Like
No, having a guy like that, it just means everything for a
yeah,
defense. Just because he just settles everyone down, gets everyone in place, and that's invaluable. And it's something you can't really tell on a stat sheet or something you see on a box score. You have to just watch the games. And like you
right.
said, he just calms everyone down, lets everyone play stress free. Especially, nobody should be the biggest fan of Nick Bolton more than Willie Gay.
Willie Gay, yeah, those
Because
two.
we know Willie's not a guy that's going to lead the defense if Nick had to leave. So
Right.
Willie going out there, being able to shoot the gap and get that fourth down stop, like
That
Chris
was
said,
awesome.
turnover on down, probably the biggest play of the game in my opinion, because that's a
It turned
game-changing
the
play.
game,
They could score, we could get the ball back. That was a big moment in the game. And obviously Nick Bolton allowing Willie Gay to be in a position and Willie making a great play. And the play before that is when Nick Bolton got that PBU. So your both linebackers made two crucial plays back to back. So that's kind of the – we didn't even say Drew Tranquill's name yesterday, which is crazy.
Drew Tranquill made the play on first down, I think. On
Yes.
that, like you had all your linebackers from all spots. I think it was that series, that set of plays to where I think Tranquill made the play first down, Nick got the PBU on third down, and then Willie Gay shot the gap.
So all your linebackers made boom, boom,
like,
boom, back to back.
Yeah, and this is, and I will be honest, I like to think a linebacker's a lot like kind of like the running back of the defense, to where like I don't think their play is as important as your D line and your secondary. But if you get great linebacker play, like the Ravens do, like the Chiefs do, it can take a good defense up to a great defense. I think that's what we've been seeing all year with those three guys. And, Chanel's come in and made a few plays, and I think Jack did a great job, as a third string middle linebacker when he had to take over the green dot.
Like flying around that game.
It wasn't perfect, but again, it's your third string middle linebacker. Like, I think the linebacker crew is a solid group for sure on something that teams don't necessarily prioritize anymore across the league.
And we said that was going to be the deepest group coming into the season because we got three guys that were capable or confident in starting, whether it be Willie, Drew, or Nick. So, and obviously we've had to attest to that depth. Like you said, Jack had to play, and we've had all three of those guys miss times at some point or another. So having all those guys on the field together, like Chris said, this could be a strength of our defense. And like you said, we don't really talk about them as much because the D-line's so good and the secondary has been balling out of their control. And this is why I said on the last episode, I think this defense has been a top 2 unit in my opinion. And if there was an award for like assistant coach of the year, I think it'd be Spags.
I think he should win coach of the year.
I don't that too. So
does coach of the year specifically say it has to be the head coach?
Well, if there's like a head coach of the year candidate, then yeah, I guess he's not in that conversation. But whatever, like the other coach of the year candidate we would make.
Bro, I
agree with you though.
I'm being dead serious.
Of the year, whatever you want to call it, defensive coordinator, whatever he
D'Amico Ryans has been great. What Stefanski has done with the Browns has been incredible.
Yep.
Like don't get me wrong, those head coaches deserve to be in the conversation. I don't know if any coach has had a bigger impact, including those 2 head coaches, than Spags. I mean, he literally has a top 2 defense. He is in charge of the defense. Andy, I don't think Andy really maybe if Spags asks him, Andy will give his opinion, but I don't think Andy's running to Spags telling him anything. You know what I'm saying? He might as well be a head coach of a top 2 unit on defense. Like, I don't understand. Maybe it's the rule. Maybe head coaches are the only ones allowed to win the award, but like low key, maybe high key, like Spags should win coach of the year. What he's done.
Like I said, I agree with you. And on top of that, this offense hasn't done this defense no favors. Like, obviously, this is the worst offense. Obviously not in the National Football League, but to our standards for Chief stats, this is the worst offense in the Mahomes era. And for our defense to be, the defense had every excuse, Chris, to fall off, to give up points, to get frustrated, and just like punt on the season. Like, all right, the offense is doing their job, so we're just not going to win this year. But they didn't. Every week, every month, Mahomes figures it out. The offense takes a step back, drops, fumbles, turnovers, false starts. It didn't matter. This defense never wavered. They kept playing ball. They got better every week with guys missing in and out the lineup, like we just said. I don't think there's any excuse for anyone to critique this defense because they've literally been the backbone of this team the entire season. And we know how that feels because the offense has been the backbone of this team for the last 5 years. So Chris Jones has said it on a multiple of interviews and shows, and Ali Snead has said it too. Like, this defense has been carrying this football team until the offense figures it out. And me and you kind of alluded to it weeks ago. This is how we're going to win football games. We're going to score 20, maybe 23 if need be, and we're not going to give up more than 21 points.
Yeah.
If we can score 20 plus points, and the other team only gets 16, 17 like yesterday, that's a formula for us to win. And I know people don't like to see that because it's not what we're used to, but Chris, I think you can win a championship like that because I've seen it done before.
Yeah, especially in the NFL, in this year's version of the NFL.
Nobody's really scoring like that.
Yeah, could they have won like this way in 2022 with the teams in the NFL? No,
Probably not.
they wouldn't have. But we're not talking about the 2022 NFL. We're talking about the 2023 NFL teams, and there's only really one team, and that includes I think I'm throwing the Niners including in that. I think out of the 31 other teams the Chiefs could play, the Ravens are the only one that quote unquote scares me. Now, could they lose to anyone? Yes, this team has too many flaws to where they could lose any game to any team. We've seen it. It still exists. But as far as like a team that I'm going to be like afraid of in the playoffs, I think it's just Baltimore.
As far as the AFC, yeah, it would just be
No,
Baltimore.
I am throwing the Niners in that list.
I mean, if in my opinion, if we made it through the AFC, I wouldn't even be worried about the Niners at that point.
Exactly, that's what I'm
So
saying.
like, if you got through a Cleveland or a Baltimore, either one, and then you had to play a Buffalo or a Miami, whoever the case may be, for the AFC Championship game, and you were able to get through those two tough games, because we know our first game is either going to be, well, it depends how it shakes out. Because right now it says we're scheduled to play Buffalo, but obviously if I don't think they'll lose, because I know Waddle's not playing. Bradley Chubb's out with a torn ACL. I don't expect Miami to win that game. Yeah, so I think the Bills win that game. They get the 2 seed, which actually works in our favor, Chris, because now we get Miami round 1. Waddle banged up, Mostert banged up, Tua in Kansas City, like you said last episode, the elements. I like that matchup way more than playing a Josh Allen in Kansas City. So for me, if we had to beat Miami and then beat, like you said, one of those two other good opponents, if you get through that AFC slate, well, I wouldn't be concerned about the Niners one bit. We just saw them get banged out by Baltimore on a Sunday night at home. Yeah. Baltimore made it look easy. And I'm not saying we would go out there and put up 40 points on San Fran, by no means. But could our defense go out there and replicate what the Ravens did? Absolutely.
Exactly.
And then, like you just said, can we find a way to put up 21 points and win a game? So.
Right. And let's jump to the offense, because while we're talking about the defense playing well, that offense finally did what I have been screaming for so long, and that was take the points when they're available.
Facts.
The offense is not good enough to be going for it on 4th and 3 on your 33. Kick the 50-yarder with your all-pro kicker.
All-pro.
Is he going to make every 50-yarder he kicks? No, that's not how kicking works. Is he going to make more of them? Probably. Then you're going to pick up the 4th down and continue to score a touchdown? Yes. Probably. With this offense, probably.
Take the 3.
Take the 3. 2021 Chiefs, 2022 Chiefs.
You can go for it.
Go for it. We've seen enough games when there's points on the board, and this defense does such a good job at limiting points. If you can just chip and claw and kick 6 field goals, you're going to win.
Which is very ironic, because we lost last week to a team that kicked off field goals, and now we won a game kicking most field goals. So you see how both of those spectrums is when you just do your job and lean on your defense. There's nothing wrong with leaning on your defense. I know it's ugly, but it wins you games, and it's all at the end of the year, Chris, is about winning.
The Chiefs scored on 7 possessions, bro. Like, I get it. You got to clean some things up.
Harry.
Nobody wants to be kicking 6 field goals. I get that there's things to clean up. Sure. We got to turn a couple of those into touchdowns. But, like, if you just say it like, hey, the Chiefs had 7 offensive possessions that resulted in points, you feel really good about that.
We've seen the –
You feel really good about that.
Remember the all-field goal game, 2016 versus Steelers?
Yeah, Eric Fisher hold.
Yeah, like, bro, they literally came in here. They had Antonio Brown. They had Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell.
Houston covering Antonio
Brown. And they literally – made all field goals. And if you would have told me going into a game, we're going to play the Steelers, and they're not going to score a touchdown with that offense, I'd be like, all right, we're winning the game. And then you look up, and we couldn't get in the end zone one time.
No.
And like you said, take the points when you have them.
Take the points.
There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, it's about winning. And like you just said, teams don't score. I don't think, Chris, I think the reason people get upset, I really think they don't respect how good, because I was watching the game yesterday. I was telling all my friends, hey, why are y'all upset when we kick the ball? They're like, because we want to score points. I'm like, have you seen what Spags has done the entire year against every quarterback, every receiver he's seen? Nobody's gotten off on this defense. We've given up what?
No one's gotten
24, 27? That's our max points this year?
I think so, yeah. But a lot of that is aided on the turnover issues of the offense. Yeah,
but the defense itself has given up maybe 21, 23 max.
Something like that.
They don't really give up 24, 27 points. So as a team, we've only given up 24, 27 max. Other teams have been giving up 30 multiple times. We never even got close to 30. So to say that you don't trust the defense to get stops against Jake Browning, who had one drive to move down the field, couple calls that helped him, but he moved down the field. And then outside of that, they didn't really get past or really get into the red zone that many times after that. So I don't get what the defense has to do more for people to trust them and say, hey, just lean on them and let them win you a ball game. And we did that last night. So I know it's not pretty, but if Harrison Butker, obviously he's not going to kick 6 field goals every week.
Right.
We're going to score. And Chris, forget that. If I don't even like saying his name because I'm tired of arguing about him. MVS catches that ball, he scores.
Yeah,
It's a drag route. He catches
does.
the ball. He goes into the end zone. He had momentum. There's nobody in front of him. Any receiver on the team that catches that ball scores. Trav would have scored. Rasheed, Richie, anybody scores. So if we're being honest, Chris, that should have been another touchdown. So it really shouldn't even been as close as it was.
Right. The audacity of MVS to complain about the placement of the pass to was his first reaction.
I'm not mad at him. Like you can be upset about the placement, but don't say that out loud.
Dude was getting hit as he threw
That's what I'm saying.
hit him in the hands. It was gonna be 6, or even if you had to like slow down and make sure you caught it, it was a first down. Like
you still could have caught it.
And what made it worse is like I thought that reaction was a direct contradiction to his comments from a couple weeks ago, where he was like, "What noise? What noise?" He knew as soon as he dropped it, the crowd was going to be booing, and so his initial reaction was to blame someone else. To blame someone else. Like
even if he catches the ball, they boo him. Chris.
Everybody has taken,
and I get it. I get it. Like I'm trying to be positive because, like, but I'm like, bro, I can't defend you. You've had drops all year, and drops are going to happen. But it's like it's the ones that like are the easy layup ones for me, like the Philly one, the game-winning touchdown, the one last night. It's those. It's like, bro, I know it's not an easy catch, but they're hitting you in your hands.
That's an easy catch. That one right there was an easy catch.
I think the Philly one was an easy catch. I think the one in Green Bay was an easy catch. That's just me. But see, I've always been that type of player. Like even if the throw isn't perfect, I'm gonna still figure out a way to catch it because that's the kind of expectations I put on myself. I don't know if MVS wants that pressure. Obviously, we've known that the entire year. This isn't anything new. But and Chris, they came out the second half. They do another deep shot to him. So they tried to get him involved right through his hands. After the drop.
And you know who it was a different route, but similar action. 2 plays later, they ran that play to Watson, and Watson caught the freaking ball.
Exactly. But we said that all year. Like coming into the game, we only had 5 receivers active. It was Richie, Justin, Rasheed, MVS, and Justin, right? And Miko. Yeah. Miko makes 6.
Yeah.
So 6. So obviously they could have benched MVS if they wanted to, but they chose not to. Now going forward,
he ran the second most routes, and last week against the Raiders, he ran the most routes.
You preaching to the choir, brother. Like I said, I wouldn't be mad if they benched him. I get it, but we don't. At this point, if we don't play him and we don't play KT, we only got 4 other receivers we're playing. 5.
Noah Gray needs more routes, bro.
Hey, you again, Chris. You're preaching to the choir. I
know I'm preaching to the choir, but that's what the point.
I don't get why Noah Gray finishes a game with 2 targets, bro. That's Chris. We're in week 17, week 18,
and he still does it. The second play of the game was a play drawn up specifically for Noah Gray. And after he caught it, I sat there to myself. I was like, he's going to get 1 pass the rest of the game. And I think he got 2.
We knew it. He gets 2 a game. He gets 2.
It makes no sense. Like, I get it. Noah Gray is not incredible, but he knows where he's supposed to be, and he can catch the ball.
He's dependable.
Like, this team would force the ball more to Fortson if he was on than they do Noah Gray. Because Fortson's a great athlete.
Exactly.
I'm over the great athlete part of this current version of the Chiefs. Like I'm in.
I think that's my thing. We already have enough athletes.
Exactly.
On the field, we have a guy that can catch the deep shots. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm sorry they didn't offend anyone. That Rasheed Rice caught a ball down the field longer than 10 yards.
The way I jumped out of my seat,
Chris, I almost threw my drink when I was.
I am a very.
I bumped the cup. I almost dropped it. Oh, like.
I am a quiet, like, and say something under my breath if it frustrates me. Even on big plays, maybe be like, yes, like, like I'm not. The way I stepped out of my seat and was like, oh, like when Rice got that 67-yard completion, like yeah, like it was great to see because we don't see that anymore. Like,
I don't get why, Chris. What's so hard about telling the receiver in the huddle, "Hey, Rasheed, you got to go."
Yeah,
you got a 9 route.
Well, that was what was nice about it is I think it was Sam McDowell wrote a piece for the Kansas City Star today about how that wasn't his route, but Rice saw the defense the same way Mahomes saw the defense.
Exactly.
And that's how you get creative by those plays. Like, sure, maybe he was supposed to run a slant or a drag or something like that, but he saw there was no safety help and that the corner was pressing him. Like,
it's very simple.
Simple.
Very simple.
Beat him.
And like my thing is, in that specific play, it was a cover 2 type of play. They were trying to rotate the 2 high, and they wanted the safety to be over the top, and the corner's supposed to jam him up and slow him down. But Rasheed did a great job, like you said. He released outside and saw he was not giving up his leverage, so he adjusted.
Before the safety could get over,
and stacked him. Exactly. It is a very simple route. That's why I don't get why we haven't been running that, Chris. That's not a hard read. That's something you do in high school.
Because
That's not hard.
MVS can't identify anything. Dude,
Well, let Rasheed do it.
I know we're done with MVS, but like imagine being 6'4" with 4.4 speed, playing with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes just to be a bum.
He had the biggest game of his career against the Bengals. If I showed you that clip and you didn't see another thing of MVS, you would have thought he was one of the best receivers ever.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you this season. You're like, that's the same guy? I'm like, I don't know what he must have got PED drugs or something that night, bro. I don't get it.
I think he's still got it. I think he's just mentally out. Like I just don't think that mentally he has it right now. He's battling through it. So I think
they ran the orbit play we did in the AFC Championship game where he like starts his motion behind the running back, comes back, the orbit motion, and he caught it in the flat and ran up for a couple of yards. We did that play last year with him and it worked. So
well, and that catch he made in the AFC Championship game where Pat had to jump and like threw it right over the linebacker into a tight window in the end zone. Like that's a tough catch. That's a tough catch.
That one where he threw he had a corner route.
Oh yeah, he like
over his shoulder. Yeah. So like you can do that, but all the over the shoulder
catch right now. He's mentally
all of them this year have been dropped. All of them. I'm like, bro, how come you can't catch over the shoulder? What's wrong with that?
He's just mentally he's got the yips and it sucks. And I think what made it even worse was him refusing to acknowledge his shortcomings this year. And like,
bro, it's okay you drop the ball. Just admit it. It's okay. Like I'm not okay with you dropping passes, but like you said, Chris, they're gonna happen. But if a ball's behind you, Chris, this is not hard to me. I know it's tough. It's a tough catch. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. You can do this and keep running. You feel me? Like the stop, catch, and then pull it. In practice, you're supposed to do adjustments. Like the ball's up, too low, too far, too behind. That's what adjustments are for as a receiver. I know it's not perfect, but Chris, that thing hit him in the ribs.
Hit him straight in the ribs, bro.
Ball for me. I know it's not. He's saying, "Hey, it was on my ribs." I get you, but MVS, you can make that catch. Don't act like it's impossible. I know it's tough. It's not impossible. That's the only difference.
No, it's frustrating, but Hardman got like 6 snaps and Justin Ross got like 7 or 8 snaps, and so we'll see if those guys continue to go up. What do you think they should do next week? They're locked in as the 3 seed. They're not a whole lot they can do. There are a few milestones. Pacheco's 60-some yards away from 1,000 yards. Kelsey needs like 16 yards.
Who really wants their records? Like, because Rasheed can get 1,000, Pop, try who?
I think the only one that matters is Kelsey.
So the Rasheed and Pop don't need to play.
I don't think they need to. I think
Rasheed will be sure. Rasheed will be nice.
I think you do like what you did with Kareem Hunt back in 2017, where he needed so many yards to be
I mean, this Trav need like 30.
He needs 16, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, get that. That's like a catch and get it in and out.
Yeah, like I don't even know if Pat needs to play. Like just let Blaine Gabbert throw a couple. Are the Chargers going to go out there with their sole purpose of stopping Travis Kelsey for 16 yards?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Like if Derwin James plays, that may be his mindset because he's a freak when he puts his mind to it. But like, I don't know. I think you give him a quarter. If he doesn't get it in the first quarter, then he doesn't get it.
If you really wanted him to get it, it's not that hard to design up 16 yards. That's literally like true. 2 hitches for him. That's not hard. So
I don't know.
Go out there, like you said, design a couple screens, a couple catches, get them in his hands, boop, boop. Go up there and get 16 yards, and we keep moving. So
I would love to see from a receiver standpoint. Like, I'm not even against Rice playing because he is a rookie. I don't want MVS out there.
Yeah, he's only like 60-something yards away.
Yeah, but like for the most part, I think getting Ross, getting Richie James, and getting McColl a lot more snaps next week would be huge.
Yeah,
like
that's the game where you do it for sure.
Yeah,
even if it is limited, just get him something. Like Miko hasn't played since the Chargers game,
right?
or the game after that.
McColl needs like 50% of the
snaps. Yeah, Miko needs to play dang near the whole game because you need to get your wind up, if anything. Right. And obviously, he would be a part of our offense in the playoffs. He wouldn't be a huge part, but he needs to be more involved. And he got snaps yesterday, which was good to see.
Just nothing designed towards him.
Mm-hmm. Like all your design plays that you're used to running, we need to get you those reps next week versus the Chargers. So obviously, there's going to be no weather involved. It's in LA, so that'll be fun to go out there and get the young guys involved and get them ready for this championship run. I think most of the defensive players will probably sit as well. I know Chris is creeping up on double-digit sacks, but like he said, if Andy sits him, then he's cool with that. He'll respect it as well. But I definitely think, like you said, Richie should get reps. Cole should get reps. I would sit Pacheco.
Yeah, I
Jet
would say
McKinnon obviously is on the
Pacheco.
IR, so yeah, to be a lot of P Ryan to get a lot of reps this week. Yeah, but so, well, it's hell. We ain't got no other running backs. Pop may have to play unless you're gonna play
No,
P
man.
Ryan the whole game.
With the shoulder and the concussion,
I
like
would sit him too. I would sit him too.
Pacheco is the one I am 1,000%. He is number one on my list
I would sit him too.
of not playing.
Yeah.
Kelsey, I want him to get the thing. So like that's otherwise he's probably number 2 if he had 1,000 yards. But like that's a big deal because it's
So that'd be eight.
people
Eight
say it's not a big deal because winning's the ultimate goal. But like when this dude's done it 8 years in
when
a
you have
row
a
or
chance to get
whatever we
16
had.
yards, bro, just go out there and get the 16 and come back. It's not like he up there and he needs 116.
As soon as he gets it, take your shoulder pads.
Yeah, like go out there, get a couple catches, bro. Go to the bench. Like everybody does it. I've seen players go into a game literally to make a catch and then leave the game. Like, hey, you need one catch for 100 catches. Okay,
right. I think as far as players that need to play, Morris top of the list. The more reps that young kid can get at left tackle, the better. McCole, Rasheed,
Justin.
I'm kind of. I think getting Josh and Jalen more reps this year. At the end of the year at corner, it will be huge. Because like Josh, hey, that pass interference play, great heads up. Like T. Higgins cooked him. That was going to be a touchdown. And Joshua Williams got the PI, saved the touchdown, and then the defense literally prevented 0 points from coming on the board. So getting those guys some reps, like
okay. No, it's always good to see the young guys get involved. Obviously, this is a week to do that. I think most of the guys we said are probably not going to play. I think the only ones really that would play would be all the receivers we named. Noah Gray will get a lot of reps this week, of course. I think P. Ryan will probably be the only running back active unless we bring somebody up off practice squad. No, you can see we can see our guy.
Clyde?
No, probably not Clyde.
Allegretti.
Allegretti? No, it would probably
put Allegretti in the backfield, man.
If we decided to activate Prince, he would come up and play. It'd be him and P. Ryan because I don't need to see Clyde out there. I think Clyde has done enough work this year. And obviously, we're going to need him for the playoffs, especially because we know Jet can't play until the divisional round. So we have to win a playoff game without Jet because he has to sit 4 games. So
we don't need Clyde for Jack, bro.
I mean, technically. I mean, if
Pop
we could
played
have
in 89% of the snaps. It was like offensive lineman Patrick Mahomes played 100%, and then Pacheco was number 2. Like,
I mean, one playoff game with Pop and Clyde, I think that's good enough.
Yeah.
And then Jet come back the following week, and we'll have the 3-headed rotation back again.
We got to win that game
first. Integrated. So it basically all comes down to, like you said, do they want Trav to get the record? Outside of that, yeah, we really don't need to see any of the veterans really play. Honestly.
I don't need to see any of them. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do because like that is a great milestone. This will be 8 straight years of 1,000 yards. So that's a big thing for a lot of players. That's Hall of Fame type status. So.
Yeah, something crazy like that. So, like, yeah, that's
especially when it's so little. It's not like he needs 100.
It sucks he didn't get it against the Bengals because then it would have been just
chill.
So easy.
That's why I thought he was going to get it. I thought he was going to.
And they still may sit. I mean,
he could.
At the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. But it just feels like they're so close to where like Andy likes that kind of stuff. The players like that kind of stuff. I wonder if there's something in Travis's contract that he gets something if he hits 1,000 again. Like there's
it's like an incentive based.
Yeah, there's just too many things to where it's like. I'm sure asking Chris Jones to get a sack is way different than asking Trav to run 2 hitch routes.
You could run a stunt and have Chris loop around. I mean, easier to get catches are easier than sacks, obviously.
Right.
For Chris to get his, and then obviously for Trav to get his will be a different conversation. So, it's gonna be interesting to see what Andy does. They probably don't want Chris to get it because he ain't got to negotiate. So when they're talking at the table, hey bro, I got 10 sacks. So they're gonna tell, hey Chris, you can sit, you be all right.
Yeah, no kidding.
It'll be fun to see us go out there. Stress-free week. Go out there, get the boys ready for the playoffs, and get those guys some rest, and get like a mini bye week, like we just said. And now we can finally talk playoff scenarios and see who's going to be our opponent for the wild card.
Because I think they're all still in play. We could play any. I know it's more than likely going to be Bills or Dolphins.
Yeah.
But if the Bills lose, but the Steelers also lose. I think it would be the winner of the Colts Texans game.
Yeah, Colts Texans game
would be the 6th seed, unless the Jags lose, because then the winner of the Colts Texans game wins the AFC South. So yes, the chances of it being Buffalo or Miami are extremely high, but it could still be. I think any team except the Steelers out of the remaining playoff teams. I think the only way the Steelers get in is as the 7th seed.
Indy, Houston, Buffalo, Miami. Those are like the most likely 4 options.
And the Jags. All the AFC South teams And all 3 AFC South teams in Buffalo are the 4 teams we could be playing.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jacksonville is going to lose because no Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's going to play again this week. So
Dude,
we'll
the
see.
Jags haven't clinched anything too. If they lose and the
they can lose.
Texans win and the
Texans win the
Steelers
South.
win,
Yeah.
I think they're in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need to go.
It's a lot of gymnastics. Like a lot of teams got to win. It's really going to come down to like the last game to see everything.
Right.
Usually you have like a kind of a picture of what you want to know going into
Mhm.
week 18, but this week we really don't know. There's still so many things on the board. So, I mean, if we had to rank those teams, like you just said, obviously the Bills are the teams we least likely want to play.
Colts are
I wanna
number
play
one
Buffalo.
team that I want to play.
Yeah, like I want to play obviously Houston. That'd be a matchup I'm cool with. The Colts, obviously. Miami, I'd be comfortable with that.
Jacksonville.
That team. Jacksonville for sure.
Pittsburgh.
Buffalo be at the bottom, of course. So
Buffalo's the only one at the bottom, and then Miami is 2, but it's not like it's and then the other 4 teams are
any of those, like Texans,
that's why the
Colts,
Texans are probably
Jags.
3rd because I think they have the best quarterback play out of the teams. Sorry, Trevor, you haven't played well down the stretch. Like,
oh yeah, and you've been missing games too, so it's not your fault. I mean, obviously, not to say CJ's. I mean, CJ's been better than Trevor this year, which is crazy to say because we thought Trevor was going to be this MVP candidate, take this jump, Calvin Ridley in the offense, and he didn't do it. So, no, CJ's been amazing this year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think, is pretty much locked up unless Puka steals it from him.
Man, I know
good.
it's a quarterback league. It's a quarterback league, but like,
man, Puka's good.
Puka about to break a 60-year-old wide receiver rookie record.
That's what I'm saying. He's in that Odell, Justin Jefferson conversation.
Like
a 5th-round kid from BYU. Crazy.
Yeah, insane. Man,
no, it's going to be fun to see what happens.
Imagine the Chiefs taking a flyer on him in the 5th round.
I know, right? Chiefs already took my money for season tickets. So they already said, hey, we're locked in for the wild card. So
right.
Woke up with a notification saying, hey, you're going to the game. I'm like, all right, that was quick.
I bet.
They just didn't even wait to confirm anything. Nope, we're playing.
Oh, man.
You're good. Charge your card and everything, Chris. Didn't even ask. Nicely just did it.
Yeah, for real. Well, all right. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Probably won't do a preview one because, again, there's nothing to preview. The game's pointless as far as other than getting reps. Probably won't do a recap either because, again, but we will have a preview to the playoff game. So whether it's same time next week as in Tuesday or if we push it off a couple days and release it on Thursday, Friday, we will have an episode next week. It just may be a little later in the week. But CJ, before we get out of here, where can the good people find you?
You can definitely find me on Twitter at CGZ81, CJEEZY81. Please have any questions, concerns, comments, let me know. I'll definitely put out some bets for the playoffs as well. But you guys definitely know you can always talk to me for sure.
And you can always follow me on Twitter at 10penny88. Always on there talking ball, ranting about something stupid. So if you like ranting or want to call me out.
Chris is a genius. Don't let him tell you different.
Yeah, I act like I am when really I'm just a dumbass like most of us. So that's all right. But that's going to do it for us this week. As always, we appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you next time.
Go Chiefs.